is we're going to set up ahead of time and get all the things prepared for milking. This will be our hand wash that we're going to be using to wash our hands before we milk each time, along with soap. In this bucket, we're going to be using the golden teat dip and udder wash, and we're going to be mixing this at a rate of 60 mils per 9 liters of water. And we're going to be pouring this into here, 60 cc's into 9 liters, and this is going to be a disinfectant that we're going to use to prep the cows and wash them. This is our post dip that's going to be mixed differently, and you can read the instructions on here. This is going to be used after we're going to dip the cows. This is the milking salve that we're going to be used to lubricate our hands when we are using the milking procedure. This is going to be the milk bucket that we're going to be milking the milk, taking the milk from the cow and milking it into the bucket. This must be clean each time. All of these things must be clean. This is the milk receptacle, and we're going to prepare this. This is a milk funnel with a filter, and once the cow is milked, we're going to be pouring the milk into this container through this filter. Now, let me show you how we're going to take this filter. We're going to be putting it right into here. You can come a little closer and I'll show you. First, we're going to take this off and set this aside in a clean place. Then we put the funnel into the milk receptacle like this. Now there's a spring inside here, like so. We're going to take the milk filter and set it in here, and then snap the filter in place. And this will then filter out any of the gross dirt. We want this filter to remain very clean, so it's important to keep the milk as clean as possible, keep our hands clean, but then this will filter it. After the milk is collected in here, we're going to take it immediately to refrigerate it, and then also to have it boiled before the children will drink the milk. So now we're set up.
Action.
Okay, now what we want to do is prepare the cow for milking. We brought her into the parlor and into the milking shed. We want to be very calm so that the cow does not get disturbed. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to tie the legs up and hobble the cow. And we're going to use this by putting a rope around both back legs, and then here they've tied them to a side rail, but we're going to just tie the legs together and wrap it around in between. And this will protect us from if the cow wants to kick, so that she doesn't kick. It'll take some patience, but we'll get that done immediately. So now my hands are dirty because I've just prepared the cow. Now I'm going to go and wash my hands to prep the cow.
Should we follow you?
In the water that we have to prep the cows, because now we're going to keep that very clean. Okay? Okay, we take a clean paper towel or a clean washcloth. We're going to dip it into the water that's prepared with the disinfectant, and we're going to wring this out. And now we are going to prepare the udder, and we're going to wash the cow. This is doing two things. One of the things is it's going to stimulate the udder to make the milk let down, and then it's going to clean the udder, because this is going to become milk for the kids. We want it very clean. I usually start from the back side and I work forward, and we're going to massage the udder.
Put your hand on me.
We're going to massage the udder and make it very clean. So this, we want to focus on the teat ends in particular. Now I'm going to turn the towel over. We're going to wash them again. If there's a lot of debris on there, we may need to take some water over here and pre-wash it if they've been standing in mud or anything, and then we'll do this. But we want the cows to be very clean, and this massaging is going to stimulate the milk letdown. Now we have a very clean udder with the teat ends clean in particular. This towel will then be discarded to be cleaned tomorrow for the next cow. We're only using one towel per cow. Okay? We waited about a minute and a half for the cow to let down her milk. Now we're going to take a second dry towel or a paper towel, and we're going to wipe the remaining moisture off of the cow. So we're going to go once again with a clean towel, reach underneath, dry the udder like so, or use a paper towel to do the same thing. Once again, we're going to use this only once. We're going to dry them and then go. This is going to be our milk collection bucket. That's going to be next. Okay, now we're going to put some of this udder milking salve on the teats. We're going to do this to help us put it on our hands and on the teats. So we'll put this on to help them milk. This also has a disinfectant, and it will lubricate both the hands and the teats. Once again, this is very clean. Now we are ready to start milking. So once again, we put this and try to keep it as clean as possible. And we start milking by gripping the top of the teat and milking down like this. And we can do two hands, and we are going to strip this two at a time until the cow is milked out completely. The longer she milks, the more production she has, the more the children will get to drink. Okay. Okay, this is a teat dip container, and it's for a post dip. It's for something that we're going to disinfect the teats after we're finished milking. And we will be post dipping the cows when the cows are not going to be nursed by the calves. So in the evening milking, when the cows are going to be separated from the calves, we're going to be putting this in. We mix this at 1 part of the concentrated teat dip with 2 parts of clean water, and then we squirt that together, and that's going to fill up this receptacle with teat dip, and then we're going to apply the teat dip, and I'll show you how to do that next. Okay, now we're going to apply the teat dip. We squeeze the bottom of the teat dip container to fill up this container, and then we let it go. Now we're going to put this right on each teat. We're going to dip each teat after she's been milked. We generally start the far side, like so, like so, like so. This provides disinfectant on the teat so bacteria does not grow between now and the next milking, and it will help prevent mastitis. If the cow is going to be put with the calf right away, there's no need to do it because the calf will already nurse this out. Ready? We have finished milking the cow. We now measure the amount of milk. This cow produced 2 liters of milk, and we look at the lines inside to identify how much milk she has produced. And then we're going to pour it into the milk receptacle through the sieve and through the milk filter. And we're going to pour it in there now. Isn't that lovely?
Do we keep a record of how much milk she produced each day?
Yes. After we're finished pouring this in, we're going to go and write down how much milk that the cow produced on the record, and then this will be ready for the next cow to be milked in. Now when we're going to look at this, our milk filter should remain quite clean. If the milk filter is too dirty, that means that we did not do a good enough job cleaning the cow before we applied before we started milking. So we will evaluate the filter at the end of each milking. If it's too filthy, we must go back and retrain so that people keep the cows clean. Okay, we've finished milking, and all the milk is now in the container. We take the clean lid, we put it on the milk bucket, and as soon as we are finished, we're going to take this immediately to the kitchen to either refrigerate and then boil the milk later, or to have the milk boiled immediately so it's safe for drinking. Again, we want to keep this very clean. We need to refrigerate it as soon as possible so that there's no spoilage and no bacteria growth in the milk. We're finished. So we take them home, and he will keep record. He'll know I took some. Off like so. I'm going to So these needles are the ones we're going to use to inject the cows.
Which vaccine are you doing?
This one is going to be we're going to do 2 today. We're going to vaccinate for the Clostridium, and I'll write this down. And then this one, we're going to use botulism today, which does not need to be mixed, and this one that does. And this one is for Clostridium, it's for blackleg and many of the others, and also Pasteurella, which is a respiratory disease. So,
how often do you have to do it?
We're going to repeat with this in a month on these cows, also with the botulism. So that's going to be repeated in a month, and then only once a year. I wrote that down also. Okay. So when you mix these, this is the Clostridium vaccine. This is the Pasteurella. What we do is we shake this up. We keep it always in refrigerated, and it's been on ice this morning. And I draw this back. I poke this right in here, and then I aspirate the liquid. Okay. Now this is the Clostridium part. We could use this alone for the Clostridium, but the Pasteurella is this, and it's a modified live Pasteurella vaccine for the respiratory. So now what we're going to do is we're going to inject that here. This will fill up because it's sealed and it has a vacuum. So now this is mixed together, and this we want to use all up at one time because it's modified live. Okay. So then now I'm going to use a different syringe to administer this. I'm going to use a smaller one. Okay. Are you getting this on tape? I'm going to use the smaller syringe on this one because it's easier to dose. This is a 2 cc dose, 2 milliliter. cc and milliliter is the same thing. And so I'm going to draw out this. We're going to give it to the 5 cows. So I again do this and I draw it up to 10. That's 10 milliliters or 10 cc's, and we'll try to get as much of the bubbles out as possible. So now we have a syringe full of vaccine. Okay? We're going to be giving this sub-Q. SQ is subcutaneous, and that's under the skin. We're going to be giving it in the neck, and it's a 2 cc dose. It's best to have the cows all crowded together so they don't move. All of this is going to be done in our crush, the gate just like this. So when we treat, we're going to pile all the cows that we can into a tight space so they don't move. So we'll start back here, and I'm going to give this under the skin in the neck. And we're just going to go in a slant, like this, give 2 cc, down to 8. Okay? Now I'm going to do it again. We're going to go in here. 2 cc, it's down to 6. I've done this many times, so I know how to give. If you give a little too much, you're just going to waste a little vaccine. It's not going to kill them. Here's the next one. Now we're down to 4. Now we're going to use this. See, they don't move that much. So we're down to 2. But if we just can't move too far, now this might be the better way for you guys to do it. Draw 2 cc's at a time and then empty the syringe each time, because then you will always get the right dose.